And good morning and happy Thursday as we get in closer and closer to New Year's. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from all of us at the Nutrition Shop. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired with COVID? Have you had enough of masks and vaccine controversies? Well, a new piece comes out this morning from Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis. Sort of helps define mRNA vaccines. So if you're going to make a decision to vax or not to, and it's not my role here to convince you one way or another, all I can tell you is, with what's going on today, those that are vaccinated are less likely to be hospitalized. Granted, everybody seems to be catching it at the same rate. Omicron's just one of those waves right in, gets you sick for a day or two, then just seems to go away. Unless you're not vaccinated, unless you have some other predisposing factors. So we're going to take a look at what defines an mRNA vaccine. Stay tuned. The information you hear on the Nutrition Shop Health Talk with Dr. Len is strictly educational and is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. Any healthcare decision should be discussed with your health professional. And now, here is Dr. Len. And again, good morning to you and welcome. We're going to talk a little bit about mRNA vaccines, the Pfizer BioNTech and the Moderna. A little bit more about what an mRNA vaccine is, what it does. Stay tuned. It's important information. 678-228-8900 to reach our office today. Anything that might be on your mind. The first two vaccines created with mRNA vaccine technology. And by the way, I don't know if you saw the news. I don't know if this is real or just whatever, but the fella that developed mRNA vaccines back in the 80s, keep in mind these things have been around 30, 40 years. It's nothing new. It's one of the reasons this technology existed, that they were able, with Trump's help, to get these vaccines out quick. And trust me, this is not going to be vaccine yes, vaccine no. I'm not doing that today. It's your decision. But when you see what's going on in this world today, as we move in toward New Year's Eve, and things are being canceled, and flights are being canceled, and all the idiot Democratic people are just forcing everybody to shut down again. Even though this variant really is not much of anything. And if you didn't catch yesterday's show, we find out that one of the players in this whole vaccine thing happened to be white-tailed deer. Go back and listen to that at our website, thenutritionshop.net. Two of the most effective COVID vaccines developed to date, Moderna, Pfizer. In clinical trials, both were more than 90% effective at preventing symptomatic infection, easily surpassing the 50% threshold the Food and Drug Administration had set for COVID-19 vaccines to be considered for emergency use authorization. So there's the gold standard. We never heard this up till now. It had to have at least 50% efficacy. It hit 90. Of keeping people out of the hospital. And it still is to this day. Unless you have some other predisposing issues. For the 150th time, If you are diabetic, you better be doing something other than just the vaccine. If you are overweight to a great extent, you better be doing something. Two biggest categories for failures in this COVID world. If you're hypertensive and on a number of different medications, you better be doing something. If you're immune compromised, you better be doing something. Buffered vitamin C, ultra probiotic, N-acetylcysteine, some immune building, vitamin D. That's the bare minimum. It's almost not logical to sit back and do nothing. While breakthrough infections have increased with the emergence of the Delta and the Omicron variants, the vaccines remain quite effective at preventing hospitalizations and death. The success of the new technology has led scientists to try and figure out why mRNA vaccines are so effective and whether the protection they provide is likely to endure as new variants arise. Good questions, right? A new study from researchers at Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital shines light on the quality of the immune responses triggered by mRNA vaccines. Quality. Listen up, non-vaxxers. Quality. The study shows that the Pfizer vaccine strongly and persistently activates a kind of helper immune cell that assists antibody-producing cells to create large amounts of increasingly powerful antibodies, and also drives the development of some kinds of immune memory, known as T follicular helper cells. These cells last up to 6 months after vaccination, helping the body crank out better and better and better antibodies. Once the helper cells decline, long-lived antibody-producing cells and memory B cells help to provide protection against severe disease and death, the researcher said. So even if you didn't get the booster. Further, many of the T follicular helper cells are activated by a part of the virus that doesn't seem to pick up mutations, even in this highly mutated Omicron variant. The findings, published online December 22nd in the journal called Cell, helps to explain why the Pfizer vaccine elicits such a high level of neutralizing antibodies and suggests the vaccination may help people continue producing potent antibodies even as the virus changes. This is Pfizer research, folks. Even as the virus changes. The longer the T follicular helper cells provide help, which is what they're supposed to do, the better the antibodies are and the more likely you are to have a good memory response, said co-corresponding author Philip Mudd, MD, assistant professor of emergency medicine at Washington University. He goes on to say, quote, "In this study, we found that these T follicular helper cell responses just keep on going, going, and going, like the Energizer Bunny. And what's more, some of them are responding to one part of the virus's spike protein that has very little variation with it. With the variants, especially Delta and now Omicron, we've been seeing some breakthrough infections, but the vaccines have held up very nicely in terms of preventing severe disease and death." Still thinking about this? I think this strong T follicular helper cell response is part of the reason why mRNA vaccines continue to be so protective. I report, you decide. The first antibodies produced in response to an infection or a vaccination tend not to be very good. Beta cells need to go through a kind of boot camp in so-called germinal centers in the lymph nodes before they can produce readily powerful antibodies. That's why there's this waiting period till full vaccinations take place. T follicular helper cells are the drill sergeants at these boot camps. The helper cells provide instructions to the antibody-producing cells on making more potent antibodies and encouraging those with the best antibodies to multiply and, in some cases, turn into long-lived antibody-producing cells or memory B cells. The longer the germinal centers last, the better and stronger the antibody response. I know some of you are saying, you're just giving us a commercial for vaccinations. I'm giving you the skinny on this, folks. Earlier this year, Dr. Elibetti, PhD and Associate Professor of Pathology and Immunology at Washington University, reported nearly 4 months after people had received the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine, they still had germinal centers in their lymph nodes and were churning out new immune cells directed against SARS coronavirus. In this latest study, Mudd and co-corresponding authors Ella Betty and Paul Thomas of St. Jude Hospital. You know, for those of you that think I'm nitpicking these things and I'm picking these out of left field, do you respect anything that comes out of St. Jude Hospital? You want to think about that for a minute? The research also included Anastasia Minerva and Mikhail Porglovly, postdoctoral researchers that work at St. Thomas at St. Jude's. The researchers recruited 15 volunteers who each received 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine 3 weeks apart. The volunteers underwent a procedure to extract germinal centers from their lymph nodes 21 days after the first dose, just before the second, then at days 28, 35, 60, 110, and 200. None of the volunteers had been infected with coronavirus at the start of the study. The researchers obtained T follicular helper cells from the lymph nodes and analyzed them. The researchers are now studying what happens after a booster dose and whether changes to T follicular helper cells could explain why people with compromised immune system, such as those with HIV infection, do not mount a strong antibody response. Well, that would make sense if you understand HIV at all. So, there you have it. Can save lives. But once again, I'm going to go through this. If you're not taking buffered vitamin C and ultra probiotic, you're missing the mark. Listen up. Hey everybody, I want to talk to you for just a minute about our probiotic of choice called our Ultra Probiotic. Delivers 30 billion viable organisms per serving of 10 different beneficial strains. A combination of freeze-dried probiotic bacteria with inulin, a beneficial prebiotic. 30 billion organisms in 2 capsules. Each capsule has 15 billion good bacteria. Ultra Probiotic contains both probiotics and prebiotics that work together to support digestion in the immune system. Featuring a proprietary blend of 10 different probiotic strains plus inulin, a prebiotic that stimulates the growth of friendly intestinal bacteria to support colon health. As a dietary supplement, 2 vegetable capsules daily, preferably with a meal. Conforms to USP for weight, dissolution, disintegration, and maximum bioavailability. Contains no artificial colors, flavors, sweeteners, no preservatives, no sugar, no starch, no soy, no wheat, no fish, and it is sodium-free and non-GMO. Made in USA in an FDA-registered facility in Tennessee by good manufacturing practices. Again, our probiotic of choice, our Ultra Probiotic, 60 capsules in a bottle. If you want more information on that, by all means, give our staff a call at 678-228-8900. That's 678-228-8900. And get our Ultra Probiotic into your life for you and your family. Take care. Simple fact, Ultra Probiotic twice a day. Buffered vitamin C, 2 capsules twice a day. Vitamin D 5,000 once a day. N-acetylcysteine 500 milligrams, 2 capsules twice a day. It's the basic foundation of support during this COVID nonsense. You want more information, call our office, 678-228-8900, or reach out to us on our website, thenutritionshop.net. Our second email will be coming out here very shortly about our January 26th special 90-day, A New You in 22. Check it out on our website. God bless, folks. See you tomorrow. Take care.